Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we are here back with Green Scorpion. Tonight we got ourselves another round of the Weapons Month. Tonight, well, I hope you're ready to face the music because we got the top 10 video game musician fighters. So yeah, these pretty much take musical instruments and become either bludgeoning weapons or tools of mass destruction. So how about we hop in and see who uses the musical instruments the best. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go. Man, nothing else, to be honest. Here we go. Here we go.
Hello everyone, the Green Scorpion here, and it has been a lot of fun doing Weapons Month. But it's time for it to come to an end, at least for now.
Well, for the first month,
I'll be going back to more varied top 10 lists come June. It was very difficult to choose what weapons to talk about because there are so many for which I could easily name 10 characters who make great uses of them. While doing research for these previous lists, I examined thousands of video game characters and noted some more interesting ones. While doing this, I found more than I expected of a certain category of weapon that I just couldn't resist the chance to talk about. Musical instruments. Where else but in video games could I find this many characters who don't only play instruments, but actually use them to inflict bodily harm? For this list, any musical instrument, be it string, wind, brass, or percussion, is accepted.
Basically, if it's
We're looking for characters that fight using the weapon, not just play it, so don't expect to see any Guitar Hero or Rock Band characters.
Yeah,
also, while a lot of characters in RPGs might use music to cast spells, which has its own merits, I was impressed with how many of these fighters can actually use the physical instrument itself as a melee weapon or to fire projectiles. These more creative uses tend to get my attention more than the musical spellcaster, so don't expect too many bardic sorcerers to appear. So now that we're tuned up, let's start at the very beginning, which I hear is a very good place to start. This is the top 10 greatest video game musician fighters. Maestro?
Sound it off. Number 10?
This first one's kind of a bad example, but bear with me. Not everyone has grown up with Ocarina of Time, but those who did, like me, have very influential memories of each diverse dungeon and locale. We remember the Water Temple is very frustrating, we remember the Lost Woods for its interesting design and catchy music, and we remember the Shadow Temple for being horrifying for us youngsters. When you enter the boss's chamber after avoiding spinning Reaper statues and riding a death-wreaking ferry down a foreboding canal, the last thing we wanted to do was drop down this hole. But we mustered up the courage and landed, not on stone, but on the leather of a giant drum. And there was Bongo Bongo. This eldritch abomination was once locked in the well of Kakariko Village by Impa, but escaped to wreak a new havoc. During the battle, Bongo Bongo plays his snare while Link tries to take out his hands and face. Now, I said that this is an iffy example, because Bongo Bongo doesn't so much fight with the drum as it's the location of the fight. But Bongo Bongo was just a very creative, nightmare-inducing boss that I felt needed recognition. And his playing does make it harder for Link to aim with his arrows, what with the floor vibrating underneath him and all. And when the ghost is defeated, it goes out with the last solo. I'd say see you in hell, Bongo Bongo, but we're practically already there.
Ooh. Yeah, Nintendo just loves using hand bosses there, huh? Number 9.
Will is pretty unorthodox for a 16-bit RPG protagonist. The Star of Illusion of Gaia, which was developed by Quintet and Enix, Will's chief weapon is not a sword but a flute.
Really?
Somebody better tell him that too, because his main attack involves stabbing people with his woodwind. And yes, while Will has amnesia and missing parents, and is the chosen one, the flute thing still makes him stand out. After a strange sailing trip that he can't remember, Will was gifted with telekinesis, which he uses to pull blocks towards him by spinning his flute. He also can learn a dashing stab and a tornado spin move. He does basically everything with his flute except actually play it.
Huh.
Will is tasked to restore the world by Gaia, the god of the earth, and Gaia soon grants Will the power to transform into two alter egos. Freedon is a knight with a sword and shield, and Shadow is an energy-based humanoid who can shoot phoenixes at his enemies. Will is placed lower on the list because his alter egos are responsible for most of the fighting, while Will himself is more of a puzzle solver. But you gotta give him an A for effort.
Sounds right.
Or at least an A flat.
Yeah, I guess with the flat, yeah. Flat under the pipe. Had to be said. Number 8.
Poor Edward. Always a spoony bard. Everyone says he sucks, and his legacy will always be that one insult that Tella gives him. Edward was the prince of a nation, Demshen, and thus was forced to learn political procedure. However, Edward was much more interested in music, so he disguised himself as a bard and ran away from home. On his journey, he met Tella's daughter Anna, and the two fell in love. When Golbez attacks Demshen to retrieve the fire crystal, Anna is killed, and Edward stoops into a depression over his failure to both Anna and to his country. Slowly picking himself up, Edward uses his harp to assist Cecil's band. His skills include attacking with waves of music, singing songs that inflict status ailments on the enemy, or healing the party with a soothing sonata. He also can hide, which is good because Edward's offensive and magical capabilities are very underwhelming. After the party is separated in a shipwreck, Edward is found in Troya. He is too injured to tag along, but gives Cecil a magical instrument that plays whatever Edward plays on his harp. When Cecil and crew are almost defeated by the Dark Elf, Edward saves the day by fighting his pain to play a song that disables the elf's magnetic powers, allowing Cecil to once again use metal weapons. It's sad though. In later remakes of Final Fantasy IV, there are 10 characters that can be taken into the fight for the final boss. And while most guides I see call for a choice of a white mage, a black mage, a light attacker, and a heavy attacker to assist Cecil, Edward is the only character not recommended because he just sucks. However, if you are a super completionist and want to train all of the characters past level 70, Edward actually ends up with the highest raw stats in the game.
Really?
The DS remake also tweaked his abilities somewhat to make him a little better, increasing the strength of his heal and giving him control over the status effects he dishes out.
Nice.
He also gets much better in the game's recent sequel, Final Fantasy IV: The After Years. It's okay, Edward, I like you, but no, that doesn't mean you're coming along to fight Zeramis. That's for the real fighters. You spoony bard.
Oh, that's one. Spoony bard, okay. I'll be real. Okay, I'll be real. The Will one was like, really? Legend them with a pipe. I mean, depends on the pipe, so... like, I can imagine just some bonk. Ow. I can't imagine that happening. Anyone else? Okay, so that's an interesting one. So let's see what's next on number 7, shall we?
Numbers 10 through 8, take notes. This is how you fight with a musical instrument.
Ino, hey!
Ino is a playable character in the Guilty Gear fighting game series, and first appeared as the boss of Guilty Gear XX. Now, I won't even try to unravel the story of this ridiculous franchise. In fact, Ino's bio page only consists of the word unknown repeated to infinity. But Ino apparently works for the villainess That Mess. She's extremely manipulative and has quite a potty mouth, and often speaks with musical-themed double entendres. She also demonstrates a few interesting references. Her design is based off the Japanese musician Shiina Ringo, and she uses the same guitar. Her name is most likely a reference to Brian Eno, a songwriter famous for working with such talents as David Bowie, and one of Ino's victory stances is playing the part of the solo from Metallica's One. Ino is said to be the most difficult character to master. Her dash attacks puts her in a state of floating so that she can use aerial attacks on the ground, and her ultimate fortissimo is an attack that is tough to pull off, but makes a great finishing blow. She is able to fight the whole time while keeping her arms cradling her electric guitar, and yes, she does use that guitar to cast magic, but does it while beating enemies to a pulp. There's a number of other electric guitar fighters in gaming, Dante's Nevin from Devil May Cry coming to mind, but Ino stands among one of the best examples.
Yeah. I mean, use it exclusively, so gets more points. Number 6.
Once more, we explore the many colorful faces of Runeterra.
Welcome back.
It is here that we find Sona, a mute orphan who was left on the doorstep of an Ionian orphanage as a baby. No one knows why she's a mute or who her parents were, but with her they left a strange musical instrument called the étoile, which is a strange mix of a harp and a keyboard. Sona turned out to have a physical connection with the étoile, and was able to create beautiful music with it simply by converting her emotions into sound. The étoile apparently makes her telepathic as well. Though she is a mute, she will thought speak to you, the summoner, while you're controlling her. Her basic attack is playing dissonant chords that shred through the air at enemies. But Sona is not an attacker. Rather, she is arguably one of the best support champions in the game. Sona can level up 3 songs, each of which has an effect when it activates, and then gives Sona an aura that benefits her and all nearby allies. Her first song sends out damaging rays when cast and boosts the damage and ability power of allies. The second heals Sona and one other unit, and the aura boosts armor and magic resistance. The third boosts movement speed, with extra movement speed when first cast. Her passive ability, Power Chord, makes every 4th song she plays have a bonus effect, depending on which one you choose, and when you change auras, the first one lingers for a few seconds before fading away. Playing Sona starts to feel much like playing a song after a while, moving up and down the scale to reflect the flow of the battle. Sona gets a lot of use of her harp board, but her ultimate really gets her a gold star. Crescendo sends out a wave of music that stops enemies in their tracks for your teammates to dogpile on. The funny part is that they aren't just stunned, they actually dance, and every champion has their own dance that they do. If Sona were more of a fighter than a supporter, she might be higher, but with an interesting instrument and a creative playstyle, Sona is a recital for the true power of music.
Anyway, number 5. Okay. How do you keep this right?
Whoever designed the weapons for No More Heroes 2 deserves a medal. We got rifle sights, flamethrower axes, 100-chamber revolvers, satellites, and even giant mechs. Nathan Copeland and his missile-firing boombox, which morphs into armor, get special recognition, but I shudder to consider their stereo as a musical instrument. So 5th place goes to Kimmy Howell and her Darth Maul recorder. Kimmy is a girl attending Santa Destroy University and is Travis Touchdown's #1 fan. Travis inspires her to become an assassin, and she claims to have won several junior assassin competitions before joining the UAA. When meeting Travis, she gives him a love letter she wrote and serenades him while he reads it. The letter expresses that Kimmy Howell vows to prove herself to be Travis's #1 fan by beheading her hero. Yeah, Kimmy Howell's kind of messed up. And then the beam katana blades shoot out of either end of her recorder. Well, that's one way to clean out the spit. Despite her earlier shyness, Kimmy proves herself an excellent assassin and gives Travis a decent challenge. Not only would she make a good Sith Lord, she can also disengage the lasers and attack Travis from afar by shooting bubbles.
Okay.
So let me get this straight. This recorder has 2 plasma emitters and fires destructive bubbles, and she can still play it in perfect tune? Dang, I want one! Finally, just to add to the creepiness, Kimmy constantly whispers "I love you" during the fight.
Yeesh.
Travis actually doesn't kill her, leaving her unconscious but very much alive. No More Heroes 3, anyone?
I mean, it's available, just not sure she's there. I haven't played. Number 4?
A lot of characters fight with steel, iron, or mithril, but Eddie Riggs from Brutal Legend fights with pure metal. If you've never heard of this game, it's an incredibly imaginative experience. Eddie Riggs is a roadie from a metal band that finds himself sucked into the Brutal Land, a realm of all things metal where warring factions like goth and glam rock battle for supremacy. While in an action game, bigger battles play more like RTS, with Eddie flying over the battlefield with demon wings to bark out orders. The best thing about this RTS is that if your headbagging infantry isn't getting the job done, Eddie can touch down and mow through enemies himself. Eddie has 2 main weapons that he uses together, the Separator, which is an oversized axe, and his guitar Clementine, which you could also call an axe, I guess. We aren't talking about actual axes, so let's focus on Clementine. Eddie is a great performer and can shred on Clementine to deal out fire or electrical damage. He can also play solos that act as magical spells. These include summoning wildlife or his car, the Druid Plow, calling huge bolts of lightning, melting off faces, and sending a giant flaming zeppelin to crash land into the area and explode. Eddie can even tame and mount wildlife, including laser-shooting panthers by electrocuting them with his music. Guys, I can't make this kind of thing up. Also, for what it's worth, he's voiced by Jack Black.
Yeah,
Eddie Riggs is hardcore. The gods of metal are pleased.
Amen. Yeah, I mean, considering like he sings for Tenacious D, which I can't say if this is before or after the game, but I kind of want to say after, considering everything. But yeah, what if it was inspired from his time in this game? Like, you know, I'm gonna make a musical band with just a friend of mine. Why not? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but hey, rock on, Jack, rock on. All right, 7 down, 3 to go. Let's go. Almost there.
I love Castle Crashers.
Ooh.
If I had Xbox Live, I would definitely buy it. It's such a good modernized beat 'em up with a great sense of humor and some really memorable boss fights. One such fight follows the knights infiltrating a castle run by the Coneheads to stop a princess from being forcibly wed to the Coneheads' leader, who we can call the Conehead Groom. The knights wreck all the tables, kill waves of armored Coneheads, and even land on the cake. More like wedding crashers. The Conehead Groom holds a sword and shield like the others, throws bombs, and is only distinguishable by the nice wedding tux. But that's not why we remember him. No, when the going gets tough, the Conehead Groom runs to his favorite toy, a pipe organ that fires explosives. This fight can be frustrating if your team is underleveled and bad at dodging, because whenever the Conehead Groom runs to his organ, red lasers protect him against all attacks, making him invulnerable while he rains harmonious hell down upon his unwanted guests. Only after a barrage of bombs does he come out for you to deal some damage. I guess he needs to give it time to cool down or something.
Probably.
As the fight continues, the cannon fire becomes faster and faster, and it's surprising that he didn't level the whole fortress.
I wouldn't be surprised
Also,
if he did.
His best man is a Cyclops.
Yep.
There's not really anything else to say. Words don't do this organ justice. Let's just hope the Castle Crashers don't crash his funeral next.
I'm not even sure how we would play it if he was dead. Number 2.
What's not to love about Demyx? Another nobody from Kingdom Hearts 2, he may not be the most powerful member of Organization 13, but his personality is seriously entertaining. He's constantly saying how he really isn't the guy that the organization should be sending. If you played 358 Days Over 2 on the DS, he's the same way. Lazy and not at all confident about his fighting ability. The first time you see him in Kingdom Hearts 2, he's in the underworld, and he makes you play a weird minigame of sorts. His weapon is a sapphire sitar that he can play to command water. He uses it to make water in the shape of guitarists, and Sora must kill them in a certain time limit. Not too hard, not too violent. Then he shows up again during the invasion of Hollow Bastion. After fighting the likes of Maleficent and Ansem, Sora is not too scared of a soggy sitar player.
I bet you can't even fight.
Sora, why did you have to say that? Demyx turns out to be one of the toughest bosses in the game. I can't tell you how many retries it took me and how many times I had to hear.
Dance, water, dance!
He fires globs of H2O, drops giant raindrops from above, and makes them explode around him in geysers. His most annoying move is when he aqua jets across the ground and then surrounds himself with torrents, yelling in his wormy little voice.
You like that? Like
it?
No, Demyx, I don't like it. But it gets worse. Demyx can summon his aqua clones and, like in the earlier minigame, Sora has to kill them all within a certain time limit. If he fails, he instantly dies.
Yeah,
how the heck does that work? What is killing Sora if he doesn't swing around these moist gimps fast enough? And Demyx is the only boss I can think of that can punish you for using the triangle button. I can't think of a character that has gone so quickly from one of my favorites to the most annoying in the game. Personal vendetta aside, he really knows how to fight with a sitar, both by playing it and by whacking around poor Sora with it. And I have to admit, playing the DS game, I started to really like him again, even if he is a cheap and heartless boss.
Oh, we do too have hearts. Don't be mad.
Oh, shut up, Demyx!
Yeah, you. Yeah, be real, Demyx, annoying as hell.
One more master musician remains, but before we get there, let's recap.
First
Number
up,
10,
10,
Bongo
Bongo
Bongo.
Bongo.
Number 9,
Nine,
Will.
Will.
Number 8,
Eight.
that's Spoony Bard.
Edward.
Number 7, I Know.
I Know.
Number 6, Sona. Number 5, Kimmy Howell. Number 4, Eddie Riggs. Number 3, the Conehead Brew. And number 2, Demix.
Demix. Screw you, Demix. And the number 1 musician. Here we go.
For number 1, we go to a great RPG that not enough people have played. This is Baten Kaitos, Eternal Wings in the Lost Ocean. I will call this an underrated GameCube game, but I don't think enough people have even played this to rate it. The world and game mechanics are incredibly unique, the turn-based card battle system works really well, and the story, though full of terrible voice acting and total nonsense, will at the very least surprise you, and even blow your mind a couple of times. But we'll ignore all of that and look at just one party member, Lude. A soldier of an evil empire, Lude gets stuck with Kalas and friends after refusing to let an innocent city burn alive. Lude fights with... well, I don't know what to call it. It's like a trumpet that swallowed a wave cannon from Firefly. If you think that's weird, just play the game. All of Lude's attack cards are brass instruments, including cornets, tubas, French horns, and trombones. While not able to use spells, some of his attacks are charged with either light for harmony or darkness for dissonance. Given the game mechanics of Baten Kaitos, combining these two types into one attack will only have them cancel each other out. So playing Lude becomes a game of balancing your light and dark cards. This also reflects Lude's inner struggle, as he wonders if he should be supporting his country and family, or his beliefs. Like others from the Empire, Lude is also one of the only characters without wings. Yeah, people have wings in this game. The real kicker is Lude's specials, the extreme attacks. With names like Overture and Concerto, Lude's trumpet proves to be the ultimate cannon, including a Spartan laser and a spread gun. We can also see why Lude doesn't need wings, since his trumpet can propel him through the air like a torpedo. Another attack has him throw a sonic disc that looks suspiciously like a cymbal and bullseyeing it to make an explosion of sound. And if none of that works, Sforsanzo has him just beating the ever-loving crap out of his enemy with his hunk of brass. Yes, Lude is pretty weird, but so is fighting with a guitar or a flute or any other kind of instrument. If any of this interests you, go find a copy of Baten Kaitos, if not for a great RPG, then to see the #1 greatest musician fighter in gaming history.
Fair enough.
And with that, Weapons Month comes to a close. I'm the Green
Well, that happened. And actually, Baten Kaitos? I think it actually is getting on the Switch. Don't remember when, though. I didn't remember seeing it in the Direct. Anyway, so there you go. Musician Fighters. Let me know what you guys think, and until next time, like, subscribe for more. See ya.